Hollywood's golden age promised perfection. Every actor looked flawless, strong, youthful, untouchable. Or so we believed. But behind the wigs, makeup, and clever lighting, many of the biggest stars were hiding a shocking truth. They were secretly bald. These were the legends who fooled the world. Tonight, we expose 15 golden age icons who lost their hair but never their image. And trust me, number 5 will leave you stunned. 1. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart was the king of film noir, the ultimate tough guy with a sharp suit and a cigarette in hand. But behind the smoke and shadows, his hairline had vanished years earlier. Hollywood carefully controlled lighting and camera angles, keeping the illusion alive. To audiences, he was flawless. In reality, Bogart fought baldness his entire career, proof that even legends needed tricks to maintain perfection. 2. Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner shocked audiences by embracing baldness in The King and I, making it his signature. But the truth was more complicated. Brynner had been balding for years, long before Hollywood spun it into a bold choice. Producers turned necessity into image, pretending it was confidence when it was survival. Audiences adored his look, never realizing it was carefully repackaged by Hollywood to preserve his legend. 3. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire floated across the screen like a man born without flaws, graceful, elegant, untouchable. But Astaire was battling thinning hair throughout his career. Behind the scenes, toupees and careful styling kept the illusion intact. Audiences never doubted his perfect appearance. They never saw the wigs, never guessed the truth. Astaire's dances were real, but his polished image was one more Hollywood illusion. 4. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster's smile and rugged masculinity made him a symbol of golden age strength. But by his prime, his hair was already retreating. Studio stylists fought to disguise it, crafting his image carefully for the screen. Lancaster's roles demanded a virile hero, and baldness didn't fit the part. So Hollywood worked in silence, hiding his truth. His power was real, but his hair was fantasy. 5. John Wayne. John Wayne was Hollywood's cowboy, strong, fearless, larger than life. But even the Duke had a secret. By the 1940s, Wayne was heavily balding and relied on wigs for every performance. His towering presence was real, but his hair was crafted by stylists. Hollywood protected his image at all costs, hiding baldness to keep the myth alive. The Duke's power was cinema magic. 6. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was more than a singer, he was a style itself. Old blue eyes with perfect polish. But in truth, Sinatra's hair was failing him by his 40s. Toupees and wigs became a necessity, not a choice. Hollywood carefully maintained the illusion of charm, refusing to let baldness break the myth. His voice was untouchable. His hair? That was carefully manufactured to keep the image alive. 7. Clark Gable. Clark Gable was the king of Hollywood, the man who swept Scarlett O'Hara off her feet and Gone with the Wind. But kings are human, and Gable's hairline receded early. Hollywood built him a crown of wigs and makeup. On screen, he was untouchable. Off-screen, he struggled with baldness like any ordinary man. The industry demanded a legend, so it manufactured one. 8. Sean Connery. Sean Connery defined James Bond suave, powerful, irresistible. Yet the secret agent's hair was just that, a secret. Connery began balding in his 20s, but producers insisted on hairpieces to preserve the Bond image. Audiences believed in 007's flawless look, never suspecting it was fake. Behind the confidence in the tuxedo, Connery was battling nature itself. Bond's hair was cinema's most stylish illusion. 9. Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye made the world laugh, his comedy lighting up screens across the globe. But his thinning hair was no laughing matter to Hollywood. With wigs, clever angles, and styling, the illusion of youth endured. Audiences saw vitality and energy, never the truth. Kaye's humor was real, but his perfect appearance was crafted. Hollywood demanded perfection, and baldness didn't fit the story it wanted to sell. 10. Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly danced across screens with youthful energy and rugged charm. Yet off-screen, his hair was thinning fast. Hollywood stylists fought to disguise it, creating illusions with makeup and wigs. On stage, he looked untouchable, the embodiment of vitality. But in reality, Kelly was battling baldness just like anyone else. His moves were his own, but his flawless look was pure Hollywood fabrication. 11. Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby's velvet voice charmed the world, and his calm, polished image seemed untouchable. But Crosby had lost his hair early in life, relying on wigs, angles, and even retouched photos to hide it. Hollywood protected his perfection at all costs. To audiences, Crosby was flawless. But behind the microphone was a man quietly masking baldness with artifice, forever shielding the illusion from collapse. 12. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the swashbuckling hero, swinging from ropes and stealing hearts. But the hero's hair was vanishing even as his fame soared. Hollywood couldn't let its adventurer look ordinary, so wigs and clever filming maintained the fantasy. Flynn played the dashing rogue, but his appearance was as manufactured as the scripts he acted in. Baldness was hidden. The illusion of perfection endured. 13. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando was the rebel, the icon who redefined acting. But as early as his 30s, Brando's hair was thinning. Hollywood's solution was simple: wigs, makeup, and crafted images. Audiences saw rebellion and raw power, never the insecurity of baldness. Brando's legend was real. His hair was not. The industry didn't allow weakness, not even something as human as losing hair. 14. Laurence Olivier. Laurence Olivier, the Shakespearean master, became a cinematic god. But his perfection came at a cost. Olivier wore wigs throughout his career, hiding baldness from audiences who demanded greatness. On stage, he was kings and warriors. Offstage, he was a man fighting baldness like millions of others. Hollywood and the theater didn't care about truth. They only cared about preserving illusions. 15. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins became immortal as Norman Bates in Psycho. But behind the eerie perfection of his performance, he fought a receding hairline. Stylists carefully shaped his image, hiding baldness from audiences who expected youth and charm. Perkins's talent was undeniable, but Hollywood refused to show him as human. His hair was an illusion. His struggle was real. His legacy remains carefully manufactured. Hollywood's golden age wasn't about reality. It was about illusion. Behind the wigs, the makeup, and the cameras, even the greatest legends fought baldness. But audiences never knew, because Hollywood demanded gods, not men. The question is, if perfection was this carefully faked, what other truths did Hollywood bury?